Okay, so we are going to start with the dollar, of course, but it looks like it did the correction that we wanted, right? I am pretty much. I still think it has a little bit lower to go, guys. I still think it has a little bit lower to go. The euro obviously had to move up. Everything against the dollar moved up except the yen. So the yen did not have any type of bullish move. In fact, it's printed a couple bearish rejection candles. And the day just closed. So we're going to take a look at everything. We're going to really take a look at the dollar because we have some dollar news tomorrow. We have JPY news coming out in a little bit. And then we have big euro news tomorrow with the rate exchange, or the rate hike, the rate hike. So let's get into it. First and foremost, the dollar, right? Bullish as shit, but bearish. 3 candles right here. We're getting this correction possibly for the day. Are we going to move out of this here? You know, we came back into this area. We're currently at this, I would say, month POC. So we're going to check to see if those levels are still valid. It missed this little divergence fib I had, so I'll delete that. But this is still an open level that if price does not hold here, it's going to most likely come down into here. Okay. So let me just check to see if this is still valid. The current month. So the current month volume is still right here. See, it did reject right here on this kind of value area. There's not a lot of volume in this area. So if price does slip through here with higher volume, it's most likely going to come all the way into this area. And you know, I feel like these lines have been switching up on me. So why would I put this here if it's up here? Either way, here's kind of a good area that I expect price to get into, this June's point of control. So that would be, let's see, the 104.84 area on the futures for the dollar. And I use the futures because it does give the best volume readings in my opinion. And so if we're going to read the volume on the daily, we got these 3 candles down here, and we did get an increase in volume on each of those candles. That's usually a sign of continuation to the downside. When you see the price action and the volume confirm, that's usually somewhat of a confirmation. But with how bullish this has been, I don't really just want to take that out of context or take it for granted, really, because this thing at any moment can just take off. And with this rejecting here, you know, we're showing some intraday support right there. So let's go down into that. I want to peep the weekly candle to see what it did. It looks like it took last week's low out. So if it does continue down lower, it's going to create a bearish engulfing candle. All right, let's go to the 4-hour real quick and bring up this weekly volume. And now the current week's volume has dropped to the downside. So it was up here at the beginning of the week. Now it's down here. What that's telling me is there might be more buy orders in on the dollar than I'm expecting, right? There might be more bulls stepping in on these type of moves right here. Okay, these little candles with big volume, and then we're increasing to the upside with volume. So those are little signs telling me it might go up a little bit more. This would be maybe an area of liquidity. Some weekly volume. So let me check this. Let's go down to the 1 hour and see if there's any type of play that we could take advantage of. And this looks like Also some daily volume right here. So this is an interesting area that hasn't gotten tapped yet. If price decides to not hold under this swing, this is most likely where it's coming. So what I'm going to do, though, I'm probably going to expect this to drop. Now, I know I said that it does look like buyers could be stepping in, but if this is, if this is going to continue down for the week and to continue to correct on the overall trend, then this would be the play, right? And it has rejected the 702, which is just the middle of the 61.8 and the 78.6. It's rejected the fibs that we like, but it hasn't put in the good volume signatures that we like to see. It's actually, putting in bullish volume signatures. And it is above important volume levels. So here's what I'm going to do. Since it looks bullish on this short term move, which would end up being like a 15-minute. So let's go look at that. Right? Obviously, it's making higher highs and higher lows here. And this is the current day, or I guess the day just ended. This is an area of interest right here that is wide open. So I'm going to look for price to come back into this daily point of control and then move up one more time, at least into the 78.6. That's what I'm expecting. It does look like the momentum on the RSI is still slightly continuing to the upside. Right now, we're currently, making this move down. The move up here, let's see, this gave a little bit of divergence. So it would be a 3-wave divergence move if there is a move up again. Okay, I don't think it's gonna, I think there would be a momentum move. So I'll have to really see, how this looks. The timing of it isn't working out very well though. Okay. Unless it's going to happen right before the news. And that's okay. I don't really care about the timing, to be honest. I just want to get a position in before the news happens. So if this does come up here, hit the 78.6, I'm going to probably put some type of thought into trading Euro USD or GU or something. Okay. But if it does come down here first, then I'll probably be expecting this type of move. Okay. And so I need to put an alert here for possible buys off yesterday's POC. And then I'm going to put an alert at the 78.6. And it's just a setup, I'm just looking and I see a good possibility that one of these are going to play out. Let's see. 78.6, look for sells. Looks for sells. That's fine with me. All right. So that means, long story short, we should be able to find a position on the euro. And it would be something like this. Now, it's a little sketchy because we're coming into this area and it's the same thing, right? But this one already, it really almost hit the 78.6. Regardless, I still think there's one more move down. In fact, it's most likely going to break through these lows first if it's going to go up, because you have to think, anyone who has bought the Euro USD, which has moved very, very well this week. Okay. You can see just 3 days in a row. 1, 2, 3. Today we started to go sideways. But anyone who bought down here or here actually probably has moved their stop loss here, or, maybe just here. But regardless, I'm seeing this area. You see all this volume right here? This looks like an area where if price comes back into, it could react. So I'm going to see if there's more than just this daily volume here. Okay, so here is the weekly point of control, current week. And I'm going to go to the euro right after this and kind of confirm this. All right, last week's point of control is down here as well. So this is just an area, in my opinion, that is probably going to get hit. Before the euro makes a big move. And there's some people who are really good at reading price action without volume. I think personally it's better to have the volume, but check this out. The move down took out liquidity and then a smooth ride up. Okay, so if there was bank manipulation, it was right here, literally really close to this. So if the market comes back into that area where there could have been some type of fake manipulative move, then I would expect there to be some type of reaction. I don't know if it would just be like that and they just they didn't really like this price, but I would expect something to be able to take a bite out of this. And, a swing trader would probably look at it like this and get ready for this to make new highs, something similar to what it did here. Okay, I exaggerated a little bit, but you see what I'm saying. Okay, so for the news, if the news spikes fast down, okay, I mean, if it gets there within a candle or two, that is a stop hunt. And this will end up doing this. And I will have said, I told you so. All right. Let me see the monthly. Oh, yeah. See, the current month volume is down there as well, guys. So I act like I know what's going to happen. I really don't. I have no bloody idea, but, and I use that. I'm not from that country, but there's a lot of volume here. It's basically just like when you're at the poker table and you see, oh, I got pocket aces, I'm gonna go all in. Right? That's literally what we got right here, an opportunity to have a really good trade, but it has to break these areas first. And so there's all types of setups all over the place right now. I personally think Euro USD is going to move really crazy because there's dollar news and Euro news almost right at the same time. And it could do some trippy shit. So let's go just look at the Euro. I want to box this out just because if it does come up in here, I think it's a good setup at the 78.6. If it comes down here, it really needs to have divergence for me to try to maybe not get faked out, because this area is probably going to get swept. I could be wrong and it not make it all the way down here, because that's a good chunk. In fact, how many pips is this? 150. Ooh, I don't know if it's going to do that. It might just take out these lows right here and then go up, because there's this area right here as well that kind of did a dip down and then a move. High volume, extreme volume right here. Okay, I need to go look at the Euro. This is going to be a long analysis. It's always long. It's always long. If it's not, though, it's because I'm busy, I guess. It's the same shit, but I just want to see where the volumes are, if the weekly volumes have changed. Ooh, it did. All right, this is a little more interesting. So on EU, that volume is down here, but on the Euro, the volume has moved up here now. That's very interesting, meaning these 2 or 3 days right here had a lot to do with this whole, month. I need to freaking grow up. I shouldn't have moved that. Okay, here we go. So this is the current month. Current month. Perfect. 4 hour. Now let's look and see if this weekly is still here. Okay, it is. This weekly point of control is right here, which is that same thing on the euro. If it gets down in there, it's hot. If the euro gets down there, it's hot. And I know it could probably just keep going because the dollar can keep going bullish, but nah, we're expecting a correction. And it really could be right here. This thing could really just correct right here. No freaking doubt about it because of how bullish it looks. But we wait for them good prices, and then we look for that. Intraday, I would half risk this. It's going to be hard for me not to half risk this if it comes back down. Okay, but where is the daily volumes? Is there any daily volume right here? Because if there is not. There is nothing to play except this daily volume up here. So, I don't love this play, but it would match the dollar, and in fact, on the 15-minute, it would kind of match on the Euro USD. So if this does come up a little bit, I'm expecting rejection. I'm not expecting this to take off yet. It could, and if it does take off, then if there's no divergence, I'll try again and flip my bias to the upside, right? Let's look at the GBP, because this thing has been kind of doing a little bit of its own dance, right? And let me just compare this. So it looks like this move right here on the euro was like the move of the week, because we don't have that right here, right? This was barely any higher, but this was a lot compared to the euro. So these are showing strength, right? 2 different days, but showing strength. Let me go ahead and delete this. If you were on the analysis, you had an opportunity to catch this money shot on GU. Okay, I spoke about it sucks that I personally didn't take this, but because I was too busy freaking looking at the S&P, looking at it take my money. But this thing was ranging out when we were live, and I said if it breaks above and then comes back down, watch for it to come back into this, and it did, and it smacked. So I'm personally thinking this is going to continue down. I want to go onto the daily and see where the volumes are. Oh, it has this perfect rising wedge though. I would love to see it form an inverted head and shoulders on the lower time frame inside of a falling wedge. So let's look at that a little deeper. Let me see where this monthly volume is still. Current month. This is monthly volume. And then monthly volume. So the current month has moved up from this week. So that's telling me there could be, if there was a lot of buyers in right here, I think the current month POC would be right here. This is kind of telling me there might be some sellers in on this month. A lot of more sellers on this month than buyers, possibly. Either way, this is a breakout, a reversal pattern that I'm willing to risk some cake on. There is still a weekly point of control down here, similar to the euro, that hasn't gotten hit. And so I don't know if this is, but that most likely isn't going to get hit this week. And then it looks like there's another day that never got hit right there as well. Let's go on to the dailies and see. Yeah, right here, there's this daily point of control that never got tapped. It's a strong liquidity down in there. This is kind of giving me just a complex correction vibe. You know, I think it could do something like this even. But what I truly want to feel out is if this inverted head and shoulders is going to be valid, because we have a clean left shoulder. We have I would say a kind of a clean head, and it came back and it made a perfect neckline, and a perfect shoulder is at least the 61.8 extension, and then we would move out. And so I usually keep this more hidden. Let's see if it's going to give it to me like that. Boom. Right. And that's what I'm seeing right there. Let's hide that. So that would bring the full move, right? Check out these liquidity levels. The right shoulder could come right into this fib level. That would be a picture perfect swing opportunity. But on the lower time frames, what we really want to see happen, I mean, it's failing to break above these highs, failing. And it has started to create some structure to the downside. But I'm not super convinced. It's gone a little sideways. We had this bullish day and now we're just going sideways. It could bounce off this fib here from this impulse. It could bounce off like a fib from this impulsive day. So there's a little bit too many opportunities or too much smaller time frame possibilities that could bring a little bit too much volatility to the pound. You just got to watch. I'm going to go look at GU really quick to see just how it compares to that. Yeah, very similar. I mean, it has that same look though that EU does. If it does come up a little bit, it's going to hit this daily POC and I would expect the fall, but I would like to not just play it off of that. I would actually like to see it maybe come up here, reject here one more time, and then maybe take these highs out and make an impulsive move. Something like this, then I'll play it. I like to have a lot of confirmation. And so the read on GU, it can go bullish at any time, but I'm wanting more of a correction down into obviously this level. And the target would be more than that, to be honest. The target would be a full, it would be like from here to here. Once that neckline breaks, I'd have it coming up here. That would be a damn good swing trade. And look, right into the liquidity, right into the equal highs. So that would make sense. And that would even be forming a bigger inverted head and shoulders. Okay. That's a swing though. I don't love the lower time frames. That's a good picture. Let me look at the yen and confirm if the volume is still where it needs to be. Okay, the current month is still up here, yes. The current week is right here. We are below it. It's not really something I want to mark off. This is still here for this weekly point of control that never got hit. It almost did. The market came so close to where I wanted to sell from. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to come back up here. And if it does, it's probably fake. It's probably going to be a fake move. But I genuinely don't have the best read on the JPY right now. It's below its all-time lows. Okay, so that means it's just, there is no floor. There's no support to the left. And these are all areas that have held. So I'm just expecting it to hold there. It's gone really sideways this whole week, in fact. So let's bring up this weekly point of control, if it will. Right, this is this week. Very sideways. I don't know what to think of it. I would only have to think if it comes up, it was probably a fake move to come down because it's just been trending down, down, down. I've wanted it to come up for a couple weeks now, and I've had to just switch my bias with this type of impulsive move down still. So The volume isn't telling me much either. You know, the volume on a bottom, it usually puts in like high volume, and we're just pulling back with low volume. That's usually continuation time. So with this, depending on what happens with this Bank of Japan-ish, we'll see. We'll see. This fib could technically be drawn from all the way up here as well, technically, but we'll see what happens. I don't love the thought of fibbing this, to be honest. I don't really love it, but it is the weekly high to the weekly low. So it's not the worst idea if it does reject here, because we don't know what's going to happen. If it does get up in here with this news and do something like this and spike heavy, and then whoa, then it'll be more of something I'll want to play right here. All right. But I don't love playing the news. So anything news related, it'll be half risk either way. Let's see what this thing's doing, because this thing is moving a lot this week. This is the Swiss franc. And I want to confirm this monthly point of control. Current month is down here, and I did not have that marked off. So let's mark off the current month. That's usually one of the stronger areas to trade off of. And then let me delete this blue line because I'm not sure what that was. Monthly point of control right here. Let's see. Let's just bring that into the middle of those two. So you see these 2 months, this was a really important price right here. So I have some liquidity or volume levels marked for that. This is the current month. There's some weekly POCs down there. Yep. So I have this weekly point of control. There's still, this week never got hit from, I guess not this week, but last week never got hit before it took off. That's still telling me if it does ever come back all the way down here, I would expect it to go. But what I'm seeing, I will be playing this, right? I will be very interested. This week's been just very bullish. I'm going to look for it to continue bullish until it gets maybe into this area up here. But I definitely see, you know, we're back in the middle of this range and hasn't quite hit the fib areas yet. It doesn't have to, but it definitely rejected off of this open weekly point of control. It hit that and moved down pretty swift. So you got to watch out sometimes when it does that, but I just can't not see this big bullish move and somewhat of a more of a corrective look to me than any type of, maybe if it did this and then this and then it got here like this, well, I would be probably thinking we're going to do something like that. But with this correction, to me, it looks more like a bull flag. And if it comes into this area, one more move down, I think we'll hold above the current month's point of control. And even though the current, or I guess the most volume of the day is right here, I still think there's an opportunity for this to go bullish when it comes back into this area. So even though there's not any strong volume like nodes or anything right here, it still looks pretty clean to me. In fact, I want to see if from this low to this high, where the most volume was. Okay, perfect. So this is exactly what I want to see. I want to see price pretty much come back into this area where I'm going to have to mark this off as POC of impulse. And I might start doing that a little more because that was, we'll see how this plays out at least. But higher volume in right here. So if I were to just drag this over, this would be where I would, anywhere inside this box, this would be like the ultimate price. That was interesting. The CAD. Guys, we called the CAD stop hunt turnaround perfectly like to the T. I don't know if it's in any of the recordings, but I would just go back and try to look, because this is a good example of how to read the volume. Okay, we stop hunted right here, pretty much said on the lower time frames, if it gets back above here, it's a stop hunt. Well, this is a beautiful stop hunt. That type of volume with this type of wick is like buyers absorbing the sellers. And then this rally up. Now the rally up has not brought the type of volume that I want to see, to be honest, but that's okay. I will take this trade all day long. Every time I see a possible spring and then the market moves straight up to the top of a range, I will always take it. And it's really an inverted head and shoulders. It's really what it is. But so the CAD, I do expect a pullback soon and then a move to the upside. And if you look at it on the weekly, it's even there on the weekly, right? So it's a beautiful setup. It has been going sideways, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. We're down right now. We need to come back up, back into these areas, which would imply the dollar probably has some downside. Like all of these on the weekly right now have, a possibility, not the yen, possibility, depending on how the week ends, and it is showing signs that if this week is going to end, if the week were to end like this is probably coming lower, but we'll see how the week ends. We can't really predict that yet. The Australian dollar is another one that we call the stop hunt on. So let's just look at that real quick before we look at this. It broke these lows with this huge move, but the huge move did not come with huge volume. Okay, it came with very little. Oh, finally, I have some volume. Yeah, that's called buyers absorbing the sellers. Dumb money, smart money, transferring, all that stuff. Yeah, that's that right there. Don't let anyone tell you all that dumb shit. It's just, all you got to do is read volume. All that dumb money, smart money concepts, ICT, Mint FX, all that stuff is literally Wyckoff. Just study Wyckoff. Oh, but yeah, this was one of those perfect accumulations after it stop hunted. Okay, we get all this good stuff, spring test, LPS, and then we're out of there. But that means if we come back into this, I do expect to move up. But ultimately, I would rather I'll take the chance on this for sure, on this impulse. I'll take that for sure. Now, if that impulse doesn't play out, it's probably coming down in here for the bigger swing, which I will then have to play that because I see that opportunity as well. So it's just whatever floats your boat, to be honest. And I'm more intraday. I would probably maybe a full risk, but understanding, I would have to see how the other currency looked, to be honest. I want to see real quick, confirming some volume, and I haven't been looking at my MACD. I need to really need to look at that. But ultimately, I have an idea what I think is going to happen. And this thing smacked this POC. So this monthly point of control last month, it smacked it and rejected it perfectly right here. So I'm not sure if that's going to hold or not. But we do have this current month's way down here. Ultimately, yeah, that's probably where price is getting to. If it's gonna come down, this probably isn't the right play. In fact, I'll have to look at that more. I mean, it's not a bad play right here. I can't lie. I'll see if there's any volume in there. More volume to the downside. Okay. So yeah, this is just building more of a case for me to expect price to continue down, or not continue down, but to make a move down with this weekly point of control down here and the current month point of control down here. Current week is right here. So we stay under that and continue to stay under that, we're just going to end up dropping down naturally. And I know a lot of people are looking at this and how we just broke that. This thing at any point can do this. Don't get that twisted at all. Let's look at the momentum, because the momentum is actually signaling no divergence at all. So yeah, this thing most likely will just go ahead. And it makes me want to play this move possibility right here. So also, if it breaks hard, that would make me not want to play it as much, because then this is more likely. So it depends. If it flows like this and gives people like, oh, the trend line broke, look, without it like actually snapping the trend. I like trend lines to break like this more than this. So I don't really care about them like at all, but we'll see what happens with that. I'm more bullish than I am bearish, to be honest. Gold is doing what gold does. It's either really ugly or really awesome. Tad, close your eyes. Just kidding. Okay. I've been saying this week that I think gold's coming down to this 17 hundo area right here. 1682, I guess, is really what I have written down on the futures. And it probably will. I'm not going to try to buy it until it gets there, at least, or until it sweeps this out, because it most likely will. So I just want to confirm I don't have any volume on here. There's no reason to, because it's just so low. You got to see what it does in this area. The current week, we were sweeping lows. It doesn't matter. 4 hour, let me just see if I can see a little better view on that. In my opinion, this might be a spring or an ST in phase B. Regardless, I'm not playing it yet. I will look at it more of a spring. I'm going to call this, let's see here. It looks like some accumulation, definitely. This looks like your PS. This looks like your SC. And then we have the ABC wave, which is the AR and ST, the first ST. And then you get this move right here. Ba, 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 bam. And that's the ST in phase B. So we're most likely coming back up here into this range, and we're going to start to form a range right here. And if it does one more move down, well, that would be the spring. And at that moment, if it comes back up above here, I would expect gold to then start some type of a long-term, or maybe not long-term, but macro move to the upside for a little while. Okay. And that would just simply be this right here. Let me just show y'all what I'm seeing. This right here. Okay. This right here. Let's see if I can do it like this. No, I cannot. Okay. But yeah, Wyckoff accumulation starting to form on gold. Let me remove these and then drop this back at 18 or 1682. 82. Okay, perfect. And so does that make sense? At least on the 4 hour, you can see the divergence right here, the three waves actually, which is really perfect. If it does just continue to drop, I'll probably try to catch a position. That's risky, but I will really be watching for gold to reverse. Let's just say that. Below there, if it hits this divergence fib, I wouldn't doubt if it just automatically reversed. But this could be a little ST in phase B, and we could see it come up. I'm gonna actually go to the 15-minute to see how this is looking. No. Okay, so the volume would need to be picking up to the upside. Ooh, would need to be picking up to the upside. What is this fucking line? And it's not. It's picking up to the downside. So I wouldn't try to buy gold. This is probably going to get ran through. And I'm just seeing, you know, momentum is still picking up to the downside. There's no like divergence. Let me even go to the 5 just in case. Yeah, no. This is most likely going to do this even. And if we get that, there might be a shot. There might be a shot. But most likely, guys, there's going to be like, if this breaks, it at least is going to hit like 100 points or 10 pips or 10 points, 100 pips. And I just want to see if silver is dropping. Okay, it's actually not. It's holding more. But it already did a stop hunt move. Okay. Let's look at the S&Ps. And I want to do this here. Recently, it was interesting. Index features. There we go. All right. Maybe. Not the dollar. We need S&P over there. So we have NASDAQ in the middle, Dow Jones on the right, and we're going to have S&P on the left. And we're going to throw them on the daily, not the 1 minute. Boy, I was trading. And let's see how they're looking. Let's hide the stuffs. I'll read momentum and I'll read volume. If we can get this thing to freaking. Okay, so the NASDAQ is showing a little bit of strength, I would say, trying to possibly break out of this range and out. Ultimately, it broke out yesterday with higher volume. We were speaking about it, and it's continuing. This is continuing as well, and this is continuing. These candles right now, they shouldn't have more volume than the previous candle. So it does have a little bit of a reversal signal to it, but it's nothing major. Okay. I am getting a hint that this move could be fake, but not anything, not enough to say, let's sell it. Now, I do see how these are clearly in some important fib levels. That is a reason to look for sells. Okay, this is NASDAQ is hitting the 78.6 basically. These are way off. So the tech stocks are booming this past couple weeks. The tech stocks must be picking up way more than the other stocks, because you see the S&P hasn't even hit the 61.8. The Dow just hit the 61.8 because some of the tech stocks are in the Dow, and well, some they're in the S&P as well, but there's just so many more in the S&P. And then this has already hit the 78.6. So how are we going to play this, right? The momentum is definitely still picking up to the upside. It's not like it's overbought on the daily or anything, but let's see the volume. And I want to compare the volumes to where each others are at. Okay, let's bring this impulse in. And you can see we're almost at this monthly point of control right here on the NASDAQ. So that's an important level. I'm going to mark that off. Monthly POC. Most likely going to be a reaction there. And then our current month right here, most likely going to be a reaction here as well if price gets into that. So you can see it's clearly making higher highs and higher lows. All of them are. And let's kind of zoom in a little bit more on this. They're all making these little higher highs and higher lows. I was drawing, playing hangman over here, so I lost. And let's delete that. Throw this fib on this again. And good to go. Come on. Okay, let's see. Monthly point of controls, or monthly point of control is not up here, down here for this one. Let's look at the weeklies on the 4 hour. So current week, let's see here. Current week is all in a similar area. Oh, month. Yep, right when those highs got broken. Oh, but the Dow, see the Dow's doing a little different things. The Dow's is up here. So you see the current week right above these highs, current week right above these highs, Dow up here. Interesting. Let's go ahead and nope, just delete this line. Okay, so what I'm seeing, I can't not see the push up. If they retrace slowly with low volume, I think there's an opportunity for them to keep going up. But if they keep going up without retracing, it's probably a fake move. The MACD right now has big time divergence. Same with the RSIs, but the MACD definitely big time divergence. And if it does make another move up, the NASDAQ, if this comes in like this and then makes another move up with 3 waves of divergence, hitting that monthly point of control, I would have to look for sells, just straight up. I would have to look for sells. And let me see if there's any daily volume that might help me out here. Regardless, this would be an area that I would buy at, probably this impulse, or this impulse, because to me those look valid. Those moves up look valid, but the current moves right now, I wouldn't look for to be buying right here, because this any point can just snap down with this divergence. So I gotta wait for this to either come down in here to look for buys, or I gotta wait to see if it's going to diverge 3 waves to look for sells. And really the NASDAQ has that spot. But something about the NASDAQ already being at the 78.6 has me thinking it might continue up higher. So either way, you don't know. It's a good risk. So I think NASDAQ might be a good one. They're probably going to be one more move up, because the current waves on all 3, the current waves are not diverging. Only on the lowest time frames are they diverging. So right now this is making a higher high of a wave, higher high of a wave, and higher high of a wave, which means if there's really going to be a turnaround, this needs to come back into equilibrium, and then it needs to show kind of the momentum is dying. And sometimes you do get this like head and shoulders look on the MACD, and that's a really good overall reversal signal. So got to be a little patient with these indices right now. At any moment, I think they could snap and roll over, but that doesn't interest me really. And even breaking like this right here, I wouldn't even pretty much really be interested in that because it would just be too close to the area I want to buy from. Okay. Now I want to do the cryptos because very interesting spots. I'm going to load the cryptos up. Okay. Are they dropping yet? Because your boy sold at least a quarter bag from it. I want them to drop so bad. Oh, don't fake drop because then you're never going to drop. Man, TradingView is slow today. Or maybe maybe I'm fast and TradingView is just being normal. Just kidding. Okay, we get a bearish candle. Nice. But let's look at Bitcoin first. I just want to look at Bitcoin. But I really want these to just get how they're supposed to get. There we go. I have to click a million freaking times, I guess. Sorry for if you hear all those clicks, because Jesus. I just want to get a good look at everything looking similar, but this TradingView is just not allowing it. I want the indicators to go away. I have to just double click. Thank you. Man. Thank you. And now I have to freaking reset this. What's going on in this market? Ethereum broke that range so dumb, like it was not even funny. This needs to be on Bitcoin futures. Okay, so I wanted this move down before it broke out. Didn't get it. Sucks. Is Bitcoin going to continue up? I think so. No, I don't know. You know, no one knows. So let me get a look at this on the daily. And let me hide all my drawings. And it's just like the volume on the break is what I'm seeing. Now, there is still a lack of overall effort as it has not necessarily broken out of the effort right here. But when you go onto like Coinbase or something else, the volume is completely different. And in fact, let's check maybe like a not Bitstamp. I want to look at like Binance futures. Let's see what that looks like. So that volume, it's a lot different, right? It does look like more of a breakout in this. So it's kind of hard to say that Bitcoin isn't going to continue up yet. It hasn't necessarily given me all of the confirmations of a breakout, especially with the wicks. Like if it was really going to break out, I think there would be just, it would be faster and just bigger. These candles right here are bigger, but I'm just not convinced. right? When Ethereum busted out, let's go put Ethereum, let's make it ETH USD. Let's see, what do you think has the most volume? Probably Binance. Binance USD, definitely no. Okay. Binance is not showing the best volume breakout on Ethereum. So, but the futures market did. The futures market was calling this breakout big time. The breakout was just so strong. Listen, if you are going to be long-term Ethereum, which I am, I'm 100% going to put the $500 that I took out up here back in when it gets down to this level. 100%. No matter what the price action looks like. Unless tomorrow it gets there. If it gets there tomorrow, this is most likely a big fake rally. But or really, even if it gets there in 2 days, that's a little too fast for me. But coming back into this 1,000 whatever price, you don't know what could happen. This very well could be the bottom. This could have been the accumulation that everyone was waiting for. We get the breakout of accumulation, retest, and then this thing marks up to 3,000 so fast that you were like, wait, huh? Yeah, it can happen, and it does happen in crypto a lot. And so it's smart, in my opinion, to grab a position right here. If it goes lower, it goes lower, right? I will be putting thousands of dollars if it breaks this low. I will be putting hundreds of dollars in this position. Okay, so that's just kind of the difference in how I'm playing that personally. It might even be something that you could leverage this. I don't say that very often, but it just is it would be a good leverage play. I know for 10 facts that when the market gets into here, Abdul is going to call a buy. Okay, almost 100% Abdul is going to call a buy when the market gets into this, to look for this back up into this move. And that makes sense. Logic. I love logic. And that's right there. That's logic right there. The volume on the futures market on Ethereum is kind of maybe a little telling right here. You know, pick up right here on this small candle, but nothing huge at all. In fact, did it close this gap yet? Almost. 1660 is where the gap is. And it doesn't have to get there, but probably will. The gap on Bitcoin is nowhere near close to getting hit. So my thing on these, I have to lean towards the downside more on Bitcoin because it didn't give the strongest breakout. Okay, definitely not the strongest breakout you've seen on Bitcoin. It's there, it's just not the strongest, guys. But I have to give the upper hand to Ethereum, right? Even though if you've been on my analysis a lot, you know that they move in tandem. Something's telling me that Ethereum has the upper hand here. They have a merge coming up. They do have a little bit of things that are a little different coming up. So it could be that play. And definitely this could be a play too. Right here on Bitcoin, this breakout, possible breakout, if it comes back in here, yeah, that's another play. But I would ultimately think if it comes back into the range, it's gonna come lower. Okay, I want to show this chart, and let's go over here and bring up one chart. Make sure there's no divergence or anything going on here. Okay, what is this? Okay, so this is called hidden bearish divergence, and this is a continuation to the downside signal, and you don't see this a lot at all. But when the market is trending and then the MACD does opposite of price. So price is making lower low, but MACD is making a higher high, or lower high. MACD is making a higher high. That's a bearish divergence signal. And of course, if it gets into the 61.8, everyone's going to look for sells. I don't think it's going to even get into the 61.8. Let's drop down to maybe a 4. And I want to confirm some of these volume levels real quick. Current monthly volume is still, it moved up a hair, okay? But it's still to the downside. And is there anything to the left? No. The MACD itself on this move up, this was more or less flat. Kind of not really the best look you want to see for continuation. Obviously overbought conditions. Let's look and see the weekly point of control. There's still volume here for this week or last week's point of control. This looks like this got hit. So there was a area right here we were waiting for price to get to, and it did get to that fast. And then, so we don't need that anymore. We have this right here that I want to spot out. See if I can take current month. Nope. I want to do this, bring the current week's point of control. So honestly, if we remain above that, it's very bullish. If we break below that, that's very bearish, extremely bearish if we break below this, in fact. I mean, if we break below into this range again, it is just these, that was the biggest fake out. I know so many people are very bullish right now on Bitcoin because of look, this baby breakout. Okay. I've been seeing Bitcoin for a long time, and it usually breaks a little bit stronger than this, to be honest. So I'm not really sold on it. There was a little bit actually of volume sitting right here. You know, there's some up here as well at 28, but we're not nowhere close to that. So this looks like it might have got chipped. Either way, if we get back below that white line, I'm going to be extremely bearish. And really, if we break this trend line, like I'm not a trend line trader, but if we break this one, it's most likely coming down. You can see right here when we did bust out and it made a new high, the momentum was not there. The volume was not there. In fact, picked up to the downside. So I'm really much hoping this drops right here, and then I will partake in leverage. Obviously, I pulled out of my Ethereum for a reason, because I think it's close to a top. Okay, it's starting to form this type of pattern. As price was still continuing, that's usually a corrective move. If it gets down in here, hey, go time. Again, for more monies. All right, let's look at this, because this is important on timing this shit. See how all these are doing very bad. Okay, guys, look, all these cryptos are doing terrible right now. What is going on? Why is Matic down 8%? That's a big, after having this type of day, to almost erasing it in one day right after that, I mean, half of it at least in one day, that's not a good sign for like a long-term continuation. A lot of DeFis are down. So let's look at this. The Bitcoin dominance is what we've been looking at, and we almost called it perfect. All right, so the divergence was there, and it's popped out. Okay, it did more or less hit the divergence fib and then moved. I'm not sure where that went. So hit the divergence fib and then moved out, a smooth impulse. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin is going to go bullish. It just means that maybe some of the altcoins aren't going to go as bullish. So if this does continue to range, which it might, it will probably end up doing something like this and staying within a channel. Let's go back. Sorry. Press space instead of whatever I was trying to press. This channel here, boom, Control C, Control V. And then something like, something like this probably. And it's getting close to the top of that. I would expect it to cool off anyway. It's already made a pretty big move. And then a correction down and probably another move up soon. So I'm watching the Bitcoin dominance as I'm really watching, and Ethereum dominance boomed off of its fibs as well, and just even bigger. And this really could be the sign that Ethereum is getting ready to not like take over Bitcoin, but this type of move, that's huge. So what I'm looking at is this, okay, and where it stopped at. Okay, it stopped right here at what day? May 12th. Okay, so let's go see where May 12th is on Ethereum. Maybe. Come on. Like, what is taking so long? May 12th on Ethereum. Over here. So we have tapped into this yet? Not even tapped into the very bottom of it yet. So what that's telling me is that the Ethereum dominance is showing a lot of strength. And that really could mean Ethereum is kind of going to be the one to go before everyone and kind of show a little bit more strength versus Bitcoin. Instead of it being the other way around, where Bitcoin's the one that runs the show, I think we're going to start to see Ethereum run some shit. So it would look like this. Okay. Ethereum corrects down into here and maybe goes sideways a little bit, but never truly breaks these lows. That would mean Ethereum would ultimately stay above these lows as well. But Bitcoin would be the one that springs down to give the true spring. Now, listen to me right here, right now. If this happens and this happens on Ethereum, that is the most bullish signal that I could even freaking fathom. Okay. So understand that if Bitcoin makes a new low and Ethereum does not make that new low, that is literally the most bullish thing for Ethereum that could possibly be formed ever. Okay. But what I'm really trying to time this with is the tether dominance as well. And I think I have it perfectly timed. Okay. I've been sending the messages just strictly to Abdul because I know a lot of people, a lot of this actually is way too advanced for most people, to be honest. And if you follow me on these analysis, you are more of an advanced technical analyst than you think you are. If you can follow me through these analysis, literally, then you are more advanced than you think you are, because there's not many people in the world who can analyze the market like I can. So the Bitcoin dominance, or sorry, the tether dominance moves opposite of Bitcoin. So if tether's going down, Bitcoin's probably going up, and then vice versa. And a lot of people were moving into stable coins, and then a lot of people wanted to get out of their just get out of things and get into some type of stable coin whenever that Luna thing happened. And that's what happened. Tether exploded. And I thought in my head, shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't people want to get out of a stable coin when another stable coin is tripping out? But I guess that's not what happened. People still just fucking went with it on Tether. And I don't think people are done. Okay. I don't think it's done yet. We have just the cleanest correction look I've seen in a while. This is just a beautiful correction pattern. We're starting to doji up on the days. We got about 1 hour left for this day to make another doji. If there is any type of bullish candle, that this is most likely not just going to do a bullish candle. It's most likely going to break out. And when that happens, Bitcoin is going to tank. And depending on how high this actually goes, that's going to be kind of where we determine where the actual bottom of Bitcoin is. But ultimately, what I'll need to see is this will have to come up here and just form some type of a breakout. Do this and do this. All of that needs to happen. Bitcoin will kind of do this type of move. And then Bitcoin at this point will probably be back at its all-time lows. Okay, and the anticipation will be stupid. What will probably happen is Tether will be breaking out of its all-time highs before Bitcoin breaks out of its all-time lows. If we get that scenario, get ready for this thing to go bye-bye and get ready for this to retest and then form divergence here. So guys, there's a lot right here, but you have to be able to see, you have to be able to forecast what could happen before it happens. If you can't do that, you need to go kick rocks, quit trading. So come up here, come back down. We get the real impulse, okay? Comes back down and then the divergence, okay? And ultimately this will probably diverge as well. And the bigger divergence will be right here, and it'll probably be on a 4-hour time frame, to be honest. So this would ultimately just be one wave, really. It would just look like this. And on the 4 hours where all these sub waves would come in, guys, for real. That's like straight up. If this happens, I will go fix my stuttering problem, and I will probably get a new vehicle, or I'll sell the vehicle I have currently for more crypto. I want to look at some of these other dominants. Ooh, yeah. So this is topping out. This is topping out. When everyone thinks the market is going to go bullish, that is literally crypto's fucking arsenal to just move the other way. And I low-key hope this drops a little bit more to scare some people to think, oh fuck, I bought too early again. But you cannot not see this. Okay, definite momentum. And then what's going to happen when we come back into this range? I have no idea, but I will be looking for it. I will be looking for it. And what this is kind of showing me is that the dominance in everything else is a little bit stronger than Bitcoin, right? Possibly. Now Bitcoin's starting to do its thing like it does, but we'll see. Now the total market cap has hit back above $1 trillion, which is great. The momentum, yes, it is starting to pick up a little bit, but the price action is a no-go. I mean, we just pretty much clipped right back into this. It looks like Ethereum. We can't not expect it to, right? We got to expect this. That's just how we trade. But with this still to the left, it makes this look just corrective, guys. Is this not a correction compared to this? Okay, let's not even look at the candles. Okay. This is where it gets like for real. This is what the price is actually doing. Or this is what the price did when it was bearish. This is what the price is doing right now when everyone is saying it's bullish. Which one of those looks more scary? Which one of those looks more real, right? This one, obviously. So for me to think bullish long term, not yet. Just not yet. There's no fucking way it's yet. But for there to be an opportunity, definitely. There's definitely a play that could occur right here to here, even just to bring it back into there. But ultimately, guys, this is what I want to see. I really want to see a wave down and a big accumulation. The longer it sits down and the longer it does things that piss people off, the better it is for us. And while I'm ranting, I want to bring up this chart if it'll freaking let me. Nope. No more rant. My computer just froze. Well, that means it's the end. If you can still hear me, I'm about to get off because my computer just froze. So, deuces. Dang. Straight up froze. Let's go here. Force quit Zoom. Oh, these fucking computers, dude. Better fucking save my shit.